If we would like to have a better understanding of the recording of a process cost system for a manufacturing company, this course is a course for us. What will we learn? We will learn a process cost system. As we learn the process cost system, we'll learn concepts related to a manufacturing company because, of course, the process cost system is one of the two systems that are typically used for a manufacturing company to track the costs as they go through the process from materials to finished goods and ultimately sold and expensed in the form of cost of goods sold. We'll go through cost classifications, how to classify costs. We'll talk about cost flows in a manufacturing company in general. We'll compare and contrast the manufacturing company to other types of industries such as a service company or a merchandising company. And of course, the thing that's different about the manufacturing company will be the fact that not only do we have inventory, but we also have to track that inventory from the raw materials and then put in the work in process, the labor, the overhead to get to that finished inventory, which we can then sell. We'll talk about a job cost system versus a process cost system. We here focusing in on the process cost system. As we do so, however, we need to have some idea of the job cost system because oftentimes we think in terms of comparing and contrasting. We often think in terms of opposites. These aren't exactly opposites, but they are a kind of compare and contrast that we can have when we think about the characteristics, in other words, of a process cost system. We often understand that better if we contrast it to the other system typically used, a job cost system. We'll talk about units of production calculation, how to calculate the units of production. We'll talk about cost allocation using the first in, first out and weighted average methods. How do we allocate costs? That's going to be one of our major components we need to do within a process cost system. In other words, how do we allocate the costs between those that are still in the process cost system in our particular process and those that should have been transferred out of that process? Why choose this course? Although this course will have a lot of instructional videos, we will have much more than just instructional videos, including PDF files that can be downloaded, PDF files with most of the presentations. They can be used as a reference without internet access. In other words, they can be used offline as a reference tool without access to the internet or the course. We have Excel practice files. We can work through the Excel practice files along with instructional videos in a step-by-step process. This is one of the major components that really help people to learn these concepts. We're going to go through the journal entries. We're going to go through the calculations. Really helps to understand these journal entries and calculations if we go through them and actually perform them in Excel. Within Excel, we'll typically have two files or two tabs within each Excel worksheet, one with the answer to it so you can actually see the completed process, see how it's put together, how the calculations are made, and then another tab with a pre-formatted worksheet that you can go through, fill in, along with step-by-step instructional videos. We'll also have practice test questions. We're going to have multiple choice type questions, and we'll also have short calculation type questions. And these are going to help us to break down this concept into components which we might see on a test. In other words, it's often better to see these components in a large problem because that's how you would consider them in practice, go through the steps of that problem. Then we need to break that information down if we plan to be tested on it, because a test will typically be using smaller questions, short answer type questions, multiple choice type questions, short calculation type questions, which means you're usually going to manipulate the numbers in some way to fit it into that context. So once we understand the concepts in general, in a practical type of sense, with larger problems, more information, we then need to understand how can we do the test-taking skills with the smaller type of questions. We'll actually do these with instructional videos as well, so we can look at and see the instructional video related to multiple choice questions, short calculation questions, and how we would approach those questions and think about them when answering them. We'll also have discussion questions, which are similar to essay type questions you may see on an exam. We'll go through how to approach the essay type questions to pick up the most points on an exam and or participate in a discussion type forum or in an essay question type forum. Who will we be learning from? We'll be learning from a practicing CPA, a certified public accountant, someone who has a chartered global management accountant designation, a master's of science in taxation, is a CPS or certified post-secondary instructor and curriculum development expert, someone who has experience putting together courses of a technical nature and or those that need to be taught in some type of linear fashion in such a way that learners can get from them what they want. Please join us for Process Costing System, Cost Accounting, Managerial Accounting. It will be great.